What's going on? Ryan Troy back with another video for you today. And in this video, I will be breaking down, should you get a Nikon ZR for a hybrid camera as far as, you're doing photography and you're doing video, right? Or even if you do, let's say 70% video, 30% photography, should you get this for something like that? Now, what I did was I wanted to take this out on a test just to give you my opinions, my thoughts on all of this. So I took it outdoors, right? No strobes, no flash, and we're gonna get to that later. Trust me, just straight natural light. All right, cool. So right here, I have the Nikon ZR, and I am shooting with the 51.8 lens. Then I'm gonna switch over to the Nikon Z6 III. So we're gonna see how the photography does. What I could already say is I'm gonna need more buttons. The grip really isn't an issue to me. I have no problem with the grip. All right. You said it's a B on me?
All around you, on your hip.
A B.
A B. You don't see it?
I think I see a fly.
That's a B.
Okay.
That's B.
Perfect. Perfect. Love it. Perfect. Do me one favor, come closer to the gate now. Like, yeah, something like that. Perfect. Stay like that for me. Perfect, I love it. And I'm gonna come a little close. Yep, like that. Stay like that. Perfect. Don't fall. Now, when it came to the Nikon ZR, it performed really good. To be completely honest, the fact that it doesn't have that grip, I thought that would be more of a big deal and a big issue, but it really wasn't for me. Now with the Nikon Z6 III, of course, it has that grip. It's built mainly for photography, and it does feel better in the hand. I'm not going to lie and say the Nikon ZR feels, really great in the hand for photography, right? Because it doesn't. Now, if you are one of those people that care about the EVF, the Nikon Z6 III has an amazing EVF. It really doesn't get that better in a mirrorless camera. Now, when it comes to the Nikon ZR, it has no EVF, and that's not a big deal for me because I don't use the EVF to begin with. But the screen, the back of that screen, is beautiful, and it doesn't matter how bright that sun is. It's just like the EVF with the Nikon. It doesn't matter how, with the Nikon Z6 III, it doesn't matter how bright it is, you will see it. It reminds me of when I use my iPad. Now, usually when I shoot, as you guys know, I use my iPad to tether to, but I wanted to make sure I just, tested this exactly what the camera can do without tethering. So long story short, Nikon ZR, when it comes to shooting and just that experience of, natural light photography, it can hold its own to the Nikon Z6 III as far as the experience a little bit. And I will get into some of those things when I say a little bit. And the reason is, the Nikon ZR is missing a whole lot of buttons that I feel myself as a photographer is very important to me. I know a lot of you guys out there say, oh, well, it has 3 buttons at the top and that's enough to do what I want. And you say that, but if you use Nikon cameras, we have a button for our ISO, we have our button for our exposure compensation. Like, we have all of these buttons that we're just used to. And these top 3 you're gonna have to replace. So with one of mine, I kept it as display so I could go through my different things, to go through my histogram to see if it's level and things like that. My other button I changed to ISO because I want a dedicated ISO button the same way I have on all of my other Nikon photography cameras. So I made that to be that. And at that point now you're just left with one more button to change what you want it to be. Now with the Nikon Z6 III, you got two function buttons on the front. With the ZR, you just have one button, which is a record button, and you can change that to be something else if you want to. The Z6 III just gives you so many different buttons that you can change. Even the record button that it has on the Z6 III, you can change that to be something else, the record button that's on the top of it. So also when it comes to your modes, right? Your Nikon Z6 III has that mode wheel that the Nikon ZR is lacking, okay? You may not think that's a big deal, and honestly, it probably isn't. And the reason I say that is because I shoot in manual 24/7. So I put my mode to manual, I'm straight. That's not even the issue. There is a big issue, we're gonna get to it, but that's not the issue. Now, the fact that I do like the up down, like the D-pad on the Nikon Z6 III, it just helps me navigate more. I haven't like fully converted to just straight touchscreen. I understand the screen's big and all of that. I've been dealing with Nikon's menu since 2009. You have to understand. I've been using a D-pad and the OK button for the longest. The little joystick, I don't really use that like that on other cameras, but you have it for the Nikon, and I'm getting used to it. I do find myself like trying to click in but actually going down instead, right? It could just be my thumbs, don't really know. But we're talking about for photography. Now, the camera, the Nikon Z6 III, has the screen at the top, so you can kind of have a nice little glance at all of your settings and give you some information even when the camera's off, right? Nikon ZR does not have that. Now, if you're still here and none of that really means anything to you, and you still think you should, or you still want to know if you should, get a ZR for hybrid stuff, this is where it is horrible for photographers. Outside, daytime, when you're able to put your shutter speed at whatever you want it to be, great. Beautiful. The second it starts to get dark is the second you're gonna have a problem. And by seconds, I mean because the flash sync speed is 1/60th of a second. Now, I don't know how good your hands are with holding things still. Mine aren't. I'm not shooting a 60th of a second. Now that's with the speed light, that's also with a trigger. So like, I did an example where I had the shutter speed something, high, put the trigger in, puts it back to 60. Put the speed light in, put it back to 60. So especially if you're a high speed sync shooter, this camera cannot do that. And the reason why is because it does not have a shutter. It is a electric electric shutter, electronic shutter. It's an electronic shutter. It's not a manual shutter. Now you may think, well, it has the same sensor as the Nikon Z6 III. Why can the Nikon Z6 III do that? Well, the Nikon Z6 III has a mechanical shutter. Now, if you're thinking about the beautiful camera that I have, the Nikon Z8, and you're like, oh, well, the Nikon Z8 doesn't have a mechanical shutter. You're right, but it also has a stacked sensor, where this one is only partially stacked. So it cannot do that. Now, we was looking at a lot of the reasons why Nikon was able to get this camera to be as low as it was, and it is because they cut a lot of features out. So people are like, and I get it, you think like, oh, well, should I get a Z6 III? Should I get a ZR? The ZR is a little bit cheaper than the Z6 III and could do pretty much everything that the Z6 III can do. It cannot. It's not. Nikon made this camera video first. Like, this camera is video first. So if you want this camera at like a wedding and you want it to be like a second camera, have a lot of light, because you cannot use a speed light with it. You can, well, let me not say that, because technically you can use a speed light with it. You just can't use a speed light shooting over 1/60th of a second. And I don't know how many people shoot that low. You get what I'm saying? Like, I would rather crank up my ISO to go that low and have a shaky, not sharp photo. So just to recap, because like I said, a lot of people have been asking me as I've been doing these tests, should they just get this instead of getting the Nikon Z6 III? My opinion, if you have a dedicated photography camera and you want a camera that you're going to do mostly video with, this is the camera for you. If you do photography 50-50, this is not the camera for you. If you do photography 70-30, this is not the camera for you. I'm sorry, it is not. This camera is for if you do video 90, 95, 100%. I bought this camera with one use in mind. The thing about it is I'm actually filming this. This is the ZR right here. I'm actually filming this on a Nikon Z6 III in RAW because I want to test to see how that looks. I'm starting dabbling some RAW now, but I use this strictly for video. I have not taken a single photo with this until today. So the shutter count on this is however many photos I took today, because I don't use the Nikon Z6 III for nothing but video. But having the Nikon ZR now and it being that cheaper price, for me, it is justifiable. I do all of my photography with a Nikon Z8. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you have a ZR, go ahead on and give your input with your test and everything like that. Like I said, the photos, phenomenal. I can't really tell any difference. You know, like I said, it's using a lot of the same sensor. Only difference is one's mechanical and one's electronic. But other than that, the photos look beautiful. It looks great to me. The screen, big, massive, beautiful, colorful, vibrant, bright, amazing, right? So if you're at a place and you have the light and everything you need and you want to take a photo, do it, but do not buy this camera with photography in mind. That should be the last thing you buy this camera for. So until the next video, guys, I am Ryan Troy. Peace.